Hi, I'm Adam, and this is Yestergear PC. Today we're going to be reloading my Packard Bell Legend 386SX computer. I had tried to install Windows 95 on the machine, but that went horribly awry. Video card issues and just a laundry list of problems. So I decided to slick it and start over. Unfortunately, I can't show you installing DOS 6.22 because my Avermedia capture card can only record 640 by 480 and up. So we're going to jump in after I've installed DOS 6 and set up the ANSI.sys driver to display DOS in 640 by 480. We're then going to install Windows 3.1. The installation media had said 3.11, but it turned out to be just 3.1. We install the drivers for the Sound Blaster Pro 2.0, and then we go and try to answer the question everybody's asking: will it play Doom? All right, let's get to it. So we're going to start off by loading Microsoft Diagnostics. Now you'll notice that it's currently in black and white. There's nothing I could do about that. It has to do with the ANSI.sys file I was speaking about earlier. My capture card can only capture in 640 by 480, and well, sometimes things go a little bit wonky. So this is the Microsoft Diagnostics. We're going to switch it into black and white. And I'm going to bring up the different information about the computer, starting with the computer itself. You can see it has a Phoenix BIOS, an early Phoenix BIOS to be exact, and it has a 386SX-16 processor, and I do have the 387 math coprocessor installed. Next, I'll bring up the memory map. You can't see much from here besides where the ROM is sitting. I wasn't going to scroll through everything, but it allows you to view where everything is sitting in memory. Gives you information about the machine. This video card is something I've had a lot of difficulty with. It is an OAK OTI 037, but it doesn't seem to be recognized by most any software. As you can see, it shows an unknown manufacturer. This shows that I'm running MS-DOS 6.22. It also shows where the command.com is located, as well as what paths you have set up in the AutoExec. I do have a PS2 mouse, but I don't currently have a driver installed. This shows the disk drives installed. I do have a 3.5 1.44 meg floppy for the A drive, 5 1/4 1.2 for the B. C is a standard, it's a Maxtor hard drive, 200 megabytes, and the D drive is a Zip 100. I'm not sure why it's showing up as a 2.88 meg, 3.5. This is showing the IRQs and what each one is currently occupied by. You'll see me type in ANSI several times. This resets DOS's resolution to 640 by 480. It's just a little batch file with the escape code. And you'll see currently all I have installed is MS-DOS. Okay, now we're going to begin to install Windows 3.1. It was listed as 3.11 on the disks, but it turned out to be Windows 3.1. I am installing this from a zip drive because it seems to be a lot faster. Its equivalent speed is around the same as a floppy disk for the transfer through the parallel port. However, you don't have to swap disks. Now it does take a moment for Windows setup to launch, and we're just going to speed it up a little bit until we get to the next prompt. Okay, welcome to setup. Press enter to begin. I always select custom setup even though I rarely change any of the options. It's a little more comforting just to see where everything's going to go and to understand the process a little better. Okay, you'll notice that display reads VGA and not Super VGA. While the video card can run an 800 by 600 resolution, it can never seem to do more than 16 colors. It doesn't have VESA compatibility, and I've exhausted every single option. I've even tried installing an extra ISA video card and disabling the onboard video, but for some reason the BIOS does not seem to like that. I could never get the ISA video card to work properly in the system. Alright, setup is copying files. We're going to go ahead and fast forward just a little bit to get to the next step. Okay, we're about to go into Windows itself to complete the installation process. And we'll put in my name and use Yestergear PC as the company. Yes, that looks great. I usually uncheck to set up applications already on the hard disk because that can create a lot of unnecessary gunk in the program manager. I prefer to set those up manually if I have any installed. This being a fresh install, probably wouldn't have found anything except for maybe a few DOS utilities, but I unselected anyway. And we're going to do a full installation. Windows needs a swap file because, well, let's admit it, 4 megs just isn't enough RAM. So it's going to create a 16 megabyte swap file. So we're going to fast forward a bit till we get to the next step. Okay, it's copying Windows files and drivers. Overall, the entire installation took about an hour. We're fast forwarding a lot, obviously, because these files can take forever to copy from floppy, and they take just as long from a zip drive, but at least I don't have to swap the disks out. At this point in time, it asked me to insert disk number 5, and I guess when I was copying the files over to the zip drive, I missed a few, so I had to pull the zip disk out, pop it back into the other machine, and copy over the files that were missing. I did this 2 or 3 times before I realized which files I was actually missing. Okay, now we got the proper files copied over, and Windows is happy and is continuing with its setup. We're going to fast forward again just a minute. Alright, Windows is asking to change our config sys and auto-exec batch files. I like to see what changes they're making, so I'm going to ask it to let me review. The only change is the path they added Windows. We need that, so let's continue. Next is the config sys. Not seeing anything different yet. Ah, they added stacks, yes. Continue. Now it's time to set up printers. And I actually do have a dot matrix that I keep connected to my classic computers. It is a Panasonic KXP1080i, which is not listed as an option in Windows 3.1. However, they do have the 1180, which uses the exact same drivers, and I have always used this, and it has always worked. Fast forward just a little bit, and it is installed. All right, it's setting up all of the program groups. No, thank you. I don't need the tutorial. I think I've been through this before. And now it's time to reboot. Now you will see the glitch at the bottom of the screen due to the change in resolution, but it will allow you to see the interesting boot up screen for the old Packard Bell Legend 300SX. That date you see there is obviously the BIOS date of 1992, September 10th. Boot up time is abysmally slow, so I'm going to fast forward just a little bit. And here we are at the C prompt. Let's go ahead and load Windows. All right, so here we are in the Program Manager. We're going to go into Control Panel and install the drivers for our Sound Blaster. Now this machine has a Sound Blaster Pro 2.0. However, the Sound Blaster 1.5 drivers tend to work just fine. So we're going to go ahead and install those. Go ahead and add a device. Creative Lab Sound Blaster's right on top. And we'll go ahead and let it install the drivers for that. We'll point that at our zip drive installation folder. It will ask for our port and our IRQ. It will give us an error message saying that we should find proper drivers for the Sound Blaster Pro. And we got to restart the machine. Now we're going to have to do a jump cut because unfortunately my capture software wasn't recording properly. The audio, that is. It was glitching out horribly, and I ended up having to scrap the rest of that clip for the footage. So let's go ahead and jump forward. And I had also installed QEMM, as you can see, the program group there, between the jump cuts. So we're going to load the default MIDI file, which is canyon.mid, and we're going to let it play all the way through. This is a little bit of nostalgia. So we know our sound works. Excellent. And now, to answer the question that everybody is thinking, will this 386SX-16 play Doom? Ah, there's that wonderful music that we all know. Gotta say, this frame rate's a little on the choppy side. Now, before I started recording this, I shrunk the screen to about half size. Maybe a little less. Any smaller than that, and I couldn't even see what I was doing. So as you can see here, the answer to the question of will it play Doom is, well, kinda. This is at low graphics quality with a screen smaller than a 3x5 postcard. And the frame rate's still at about maybe 3 to 5 frames per second. Now it is playable. I know 11-year-old me played the game just like this on a very similar machine for quite a while, and I was very happy to have it. However, after another year or two and I got a 486, I'll tell you, it was a completely different experience. This is not something that I think I could bring myself to play in this quality at this speed for any length of time. Now let's just get out of here. Alright, so it won't really play Doom, at least not at any playable speeds. So let's go ahead and give a shot to Wolfenstein3d. Bring 'em on. Get psyched. Ooh, I am. I am psyched. Ah, now this is a playable frame rate. Now, you'll notice the audio doesn't quite sync up with the video, but it didn't sound this bad while I was playing. It was perfectly synced. It's an issue with recording uncompressed AVI with the Avermedia C127, which is the capture card that I use. You'll also notice where the video speeds up here and there. It's just trying to resynchronize. But this game is overall very playable. I mean, the frame rates aren't perfect. We're pushing around 15 to 20, but that's very playable. I never feel like I'm having to struggle to aim. The enemies aren't causing any problems. So yeah, definitely the 386SX-16 can handle Wolfenstein, but I'd avoid Doom.
Oh! Ah! Oh!
Alright, and there's the end of the level. So we're going to end the video here. I thank you guys for tuning in. If you'd like to see any more videos on this machine or want me to try doing anything else with it, please let me know in the comments. Thanks a lot for watching.